think my involvement here at St. Mark's has been definitely a positive one. I think there's always room to learn, whether you're the one leading the activities or the one going through the activities. And I think it's been a learning process for me as well. I've been at Whittier College for 3 years now, going into my 4th season, and it's always a change going from the assistant coach role into the head coaching role, and now everything kind of falls on your shoulders and everybody looks to you for answers. So I think it's part of my job and part of my philosophy in being a good coach and a good mentor is to continue to teach myself and to learn and to step outside of my comfort zone and try to learn as much as I possibly can, so then I can then pass it on to those that I am mentoring, even though they are either college kids or the youth here at St. Mark's. Well, I think it's kind of it plays on both sides. I think the kids here at St. Mark's get something out of it, as do my players, and I think it's good for them to get out into the community and be those leaders and be those role models for the youth. It's something that I believe is important in growing a program. I'm not all about winning and losing. I'm about developing the person. And I organize and I set up the camps, but basically they're out there and they're interacting and they're problem solving and doing the teaching and connecting with those kids. And I think it's important for kids of any level to make sure that they are giving back and they're in turn developing their leadership skills. And you can see right away who kind of takes charge and who kind of sits back, but they all have their different ways of leading, and I think that's important for each one of them to see. Developing leadership skills is extremely important. I think transitioning from whether it's your youth educational system into college and then into the real world, you can take all of those skills with you. It's like I said, it's something that I extremely value and something I try to make a point of when I'm coaching, not necessarily the X's and O's, but how certain situations can relate into the real world, as far as working together as a team or being accountable, being on time. I remember when I was in college, 15 minutes early was technically late. So everybody was there on time and ready to go. And now with just the communication and the age of technology, I don't think, and this is dealing with my college kids, they don't know how to have a conversation with an adult because they're used to emailing or text messaging. So I've kind of eliminated text messaging, and if they need to come in and have a conversation with me, then they need to knock on the door and set something up, and we work through that. So I think there's a lot of different skills that you can take from these leadership development activities or working within a team environment and translating those into the real workplace where that's where they'll be next. Character development in my program or any sports program, I think, should be kind of a priority. I know with athletics it can get a little carried away in terms of winning and losing, but I think every coach has a different philosophy. And like I mentioned before, my overall philosophy of coaching is to build young people, and I think athletics is a great way and a great avenue for those skills to be developed. So it's something I stress, whether it's with my players now or incoming recruits, that they genuinely are student athletes and it's academics first, and soccer just happens to be the bonus part in their life. And I do ask them to commit, what they commit in the classroom when it's time to be out on the field, that they have that focus and that drive, and that passion. But I think for the overall growth of any program, it's important to develop young people. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck with a bunch of memories of maybe winning or losing a game and not really having grown over those 4 years as a person that will then, like I said, in turn help you in that next phase of your life. I think in terms of goal setting, and I think it's something where young people, whether they're grade school, junior high, or even the college kids, have a hard time, I think, grasping the concept, because I think we have an overall goal of something that we want to achieve, but I don't think they realize that there's so many steps that go into attaining that goal. And I think we could see it in the exercises today, that they see the overall plan that I have to take this equipment to that equipment, and they just start going, where if they devise some sort of plan, whether it's 10 steps, which takes you 20 years, which is a hard concept, I think, for kids to get, that it will eventually be attainable. And then as you get through certain steps, you can then, reevaluate your goals or, change them or whatever the case may be. So I always encourage, we always go through goal setting with my program prior to the season starting. And it's not goal setting in terms of wins and losses. I don't believe that success is measured in terms of wins and losses, but more so measured in the effort that we give. But that's hard to measure. Actually, it's impossible to measure, except for you kind of have to judge yourself on that kind of stuff. So it's something that I think is extremely important, whether it's just looking to, pass the next math test, what are those steps you're going to take, or if it's getting into college, or it's becoming an astronaut, or becoming a soccer coach. With me becoming a soccer coach, I think it's something that just kind of fell into my lap. I've played the sport since I was, 5 years old, and I was fortunate enough to play in college and then professionally. And it's just something I kept doing after college. And then there was a point where, I had to stop playing, and I kind of figured how I could best utilize my skills and give back to the game that has given me so much and helped develop me into the type of person that I am today. And I think athletics in general has a lot to do with character development, because throughout the years you take bits and pieces and you develop skills over time, like I said, that in turn help you then become whatever it is that you're going to do next in your journey. I think, sports did play a big part in shaping who I am in terms of the team aspect, but I think I was fortunate enough to come from a great family, and, my parents are very strong influences, and they'll take all the credit for my athletic ability, but really it's, them teaching me to be a good person and, treat others as you would like to be treated, and making sure that you're fair and honest and loyal. And I think that those are all qualities that I also try to pass down to the young people that I am fortunate enough to work with.